The glittering landscape of Hollywood has always been built on a foundation of carefully constructed illusions, where the public images of our favorite stars are meticulously crafted, packaged, and presented to the world as paragons of perfection. For years, the collective cultural imagination is captivated by the seemingly flawless romances that blossom under the bright lights of Tinseltown, leading audiences to believe in the reality of cinematic fairy tales that exist far beyond the silver screen. We watch from a distance as high-profile couples navigate red carpets, exchange loving glances during award acceptance speeches, and share curated glimpses of their domestic bliss through the media, transforming their private lives into a form of public entertainment that satisfies our endless appetite for romance and glamour. Yet, beneath this dazzling veneer of endless celebrations, perfectly timed photographs, and synchronized public relations campaigns, lies a much harsher and deeply complicated reality that the public rarely gets to witness in real time. The immense pressure of sustaining a high-profile relationship while constantly being observed by millions of critical eyes creates an environment where even the strongest foundations can begin to fracture under the weight of unyielding scrutiny. For a long time, the underlying cracks in these monumental foundations remain hidden from view, masked by professional smiles, coordinated press releases, and the shared understanding that the show must always go on, regardless of the emotional cost behind the scenes. This delicate balance between public expectation and private struggle defines the modern experience of celebrity, transforming personal milestones and private heartbreaks into collective cultural events that are analyzed, dissected, and debated by strangers across the globe. As viewers, we often forget that the individuals illuminating our screens are human beings navigating the same chaotic emotional landscapes as the rest of us, albeit under a magnifying glass that amplifies every mistake, every sorrow, and every quiet moment of despair. If you want to stay connected with the deepest, most authentic stories behind the bright lights of the entertainment industry and explore the human truth behind the carefully constructed headlines, please take a brief moment to subscribe to our channel and join our growing community of thoughtful observers. By subscribing, you ensure that you will never miss our deep, analytical deep dives into the lives of the figures who shape our cultural landscape, helping us bring you the complete, unvarnished truth behind the stories that capture the world's attention. The phenomenon of public fascination with celebrity relationships is not merely about gossip, but rather a reflection of our own desire to find relatable human experiences within a world that often feels entirely artificial and out of reach. When a beloved Hollywood union begins to dissolve, it shatters the collective illusion of the perfect romance, forcing the public to confront the reality that fame, fortune, and immense talent offer absolutely no protection against the universal pain of heartbreak and emotional alienation. This underlying tension between the public persona and the internal reality is precisely what makes the sudden unraveling of a famous partnership so profoundly impactful for audiences worldwide, as it reveals the deep vulnerability hidden beneath the armor of stardom. For nearly a decade, one particular Hollywood couple seemed to embody the ultimate contemporary love story, capturing the hearts of millions with their seemingly down-to-earth demeanor, mutual professional success, and an apparent devotion to one another that defied the cynical expectations of the entertainment industry. They represented a rare kind of Hollywood magic, appearing genuinely grounded, deeply connected, and blissfully happy amidst the chaotic whirlwind of their rapidly ascending careers in the global spotlight. Their public appearances were defined by a shared sense of humor and an infectious joy that made their bond seem entirely unbreakable, establishing them as a golden couple of their generation and a symbol of enduring romance in an industry notorious for fleeting relationships. When that bond eventually fractured, the subsequent silence that enveloped the separation was deafening, leaving the public to wonder about the true nature of the emotional storm that had taken place behind closed doors. For years, both parties maintained an absolute ironclad veil of privacy over the dissolution of their marriage, choosing to protect their young child and their own healing processes from the relentless curiosity of the international media landscape. This long period of quiet contemplation and shared restraint allowed the public narrative to settle into a comfortable, sanitized history, devoid of the raw emotional truth that always accompanies the end of a deeply significant life partnership. However, the passage of time has a unique way of altering perspectives, softening old wounds, and eventually giving rise to a powerful need for authentic self-expression and unvarnished truth-telling. Now, after years of absolute silence and carefully maintained boundaries, a blistering and profoundly honest account has finally emerged, shattering the long-standing quiet and offering an unprecedented look into the immense emotional turmoil that accompanied the collapse of this famous marriage. The revelation comes as a profound shock to a public that had grown accustomed to the neat, uncomplicated narrative of a peaceful and entirely amicable parting of ways, reminding everyone that the true cost of high-profile heartbreak is rarely captured in a standard press release. This sudden opening of old chapters invites us to re-examine the true nature of fame, the heavy burden of public scrutiny, and the complex mechanisms that individuals must construct to survive the agonizing collapse of their personal lives while the entire world watches and judges from afar. The emotional epicenter of this unfolding Hollywood drama centers around the deeply personal revelations of Faris, who has finally broken her long-standing silence regarding the painful dissolution of her marriage to fellow actor Chris Pratt. The couple whose romance once seemed like a rare beacon of genuine affection in a notoriously fickle industry initially captured the public imagination when they eloped to the idyllic island of Bali in 2009. For years, their relationship appeared to be an idyllic partnership built on a shared sense of humor, mutual respect, and a grounded approach to the escalating demands of their respective Hollywood careers. The birth of their son Jack in 2012 further cemented their status as a beloved Hollywood family, creating a picture-perfect narrative that fans and media outlets eagerly consumed. However, the internal reality of their union began to dramatically diverge from the polished public image, culminating in a devastating separation in 2017 and the finalization of their divorce the following year. In the immediate aftermath of the split, both Faris and Pratt made a conscious, highly calculated decision to draw an impenetrable veil of privacy over the painful details of their crumbling marriage. This strategic silence was primarily motivated by a fierce, shared desire to protect their young son from the aggressive intrusion of paparazzi and tabloid journalists, as well as an effort to preserve their own emotional stability during a period of profound personal grief. For a long time, this dignified approach allowed them to co-parent effectively and transition into new chapters of their lives, with both eventually finding romantic fulfillment with new partners. Yet, the deep-seated emotional scars of that period did not simply vanish beneath the surface of their new realities, and Faris has now chosen to offer a blistering, unfiltered account of the intense suffering she endured during that highly volatile transition. Speaking candidly with Variety, the actress bared her soul regarding the profound sadness that enveloped her during the separation, painting a vivid picture of a woman struggling to maintain her emotional equilibrium while her private life was dissected on a global stage. Faris confessed that despite possessing a resilient core and consciously attempting to prevent the toxic elements of Hollywood culture from infiltrating her personal identity, the sheer, unyielding weight of global fame had undeniably shaped her over her 26-year career in the entertainment industry. The most agonizing aspect of the entire experience, as she emphatically noted, was the relentless microscopic scrutiny that accompanied every single development in her personal life, transforming her private heartbreak into a highly public spectacle. The constant judgment from anonymous onlookers and the invasive nature of modern media commentary created an incredibly isolating environment where the simple act of grieving the end of a marriage became a monumental challenge. Amidst this overwhelming emotional storm, Faris found an unexpected sanctuary and a vital lifeline in the form of her advice podcast, Unqualified, which she had initially launched back in 2015 as a creative outlet. The audio platform, which was originally conceived long before her marriage began to fracture, unexpectedly transformed into a profound therapeutic tool that helped her navigate the darkest, most turbulent phases of her marital breakdown. Faris reflected on how the intimate nature of the medium provided her with a powerful sense of comfort, echoing the nostalgic appeal of traditional late-night talk radio, where individuals could connect in a deeply personal, almost hidden space. When she first embarked on the podcasting journey, her ambitions were remarkably modest, as she simply wanted a small, dedicated audience of perhaps 4 people to listen, effectively building her own secret, supportive community far away from the rigid expectations and superficial dynamics of the Hollywood establishment. She desperately craved an authentic avenue of expression that existed entirely outside the traditional entertainment pipeline, viewing it as a precious mechanism to forge genuine human connections based on vulnerability and shared life experiences. While recording the episodes during the height of her marital crisis, Faris intentionally chose not to explicitly disclose the specific agonizing details of her ongoing divorce to her listeners, maintaining a strict boundary around her immediate family situation. However, the mere knowledge that the platform existed and the comforting realization that she possessed the absolute freedom to speak her truth if she ever felt the pressing need to do so, provided an immense source of psychological comfort and strength. This creative outlet did not merely serve as a temporary distraction from her crushing reality, but actively catalyzed a profound shift in her perspective regarding her professional future and her long-term career aspirations. The fulfilling experience of writing and engaging in deeply personal dialogue through the podcast made her realize that her happiness was not inextricably tethered to the traditional acting roles that had defined her public persona for decades. She began to find immense joy and a sense of purpose in the act of writing and independent creation, leading her to seriously contemplate a completely alternative path that could potentially sustain her financially while allowing her to step back from the exhausting demands of the spotlight. This period of intense introspection led her to envision a concrete version of retirement from the relentless Hollywood machine, a mental escape hatch that allowed her to regain a sense of agency over her own destiny during a time when her personal life felt entirely chaotic and beyond her control. In 2017, the exact year that her marriage to Pratt tragically imploded under the weight of irreconcilable differences, Faris released a compelling book titled after her podcast, which beautifully blended practical relationship advice with deeply personal memoir reflections. The timing of the book's publication added another layer of complex irony to the unfolding narrative, as the manuscript had been entirely completed well before the couple decided to separate, and it even featured a warm, supportive foreword written by Pratt himself. Consequently, the book was officially published and distributed to the public a mere 2 months after the couple had shocked the world by publicly announcing their marital split, creating a jarring contrast between the printed declarations of partnership and the stark reality of their new separate existences. The release of the book under such emotionally fraught circumstances further amplified the public tension surrounding the actress as readers combed through the pages looking for hidden signs of the impending fracture, transforming a creative achievement into another subject of intense public analysis and speculation. Following the highly publicized dissolution of their marriage, both individuals embarked on distinctly separate paths, navigating the complex process of rebuilding their personal lives and finding new forms of happiness while remaining bound by their shared parental responsibilities. Chris Pratt's life underwent a rapid and highly visible transformation as he found love again with Katherine Schwarzenegger, the accomplished daughter of Hollywood icon Arnold Schwarzenegger and broadcast journalist Maria Shriver. This new union thrust Pratt into one of America's most prominent cultural dynasties, and the couple quickly expanded their family, welcoming 3 children together, daughters Lila and Eloise, and their youngest son Ford. As Pratt celebrated these new blessings and frequently shared glimpses of his domestic joy with his millions of global followers, his public expressions of happiness inadvertently became a lightning rod for intense public debate and intense internet scrutiny. The fragile nature of modern celebrity communication was vividly illustrated in 2021 when Pratt shared a seemingly innocent Instagram post dedicated to praising his wife Katherine for giving him an amazing life and a gorgeous, healthy daughter. What was intended as a celebratory expression of marital affection quickly mutated into a massive public relations crisis as an army of online critics aggressively interpreted the phrase healthy daughter as a deliberate, passive-aggressive slight directed at his firstborn son Jack. This severe interpretation was rooted in the well-known history of Jack's premature birth, which had resulted in a series of severe medical challenges and ongoing health struggles that Faris and Pratt had privately fought through during the early years of the boy's life. The immediate internet backlash was swift and unforgiving, with thousands of social media users condemning the actor for what they perceived as a cruel lack of sensitivity toward his eldest child's medical history. The intense digital furor deeply impacted Pratt, who later confessed in a remarkably candid interview with Men's Health that the overwhelming wave of public hostility had taken an immense emotional toll on his mental well-being. He revealed the agonizing realization that his son would inevitably grow up and read those malicious online interpretations, which were now permanently etched into the digital historical record for the rest of time. The Jurassic World star admitted that the situation broke his heart to the point of tears, causing him to deeply resent how the genuine blessings in his life were being twisted by external commentators to become a painful burden for the people he loved most in the world. While Pratt navigated the turbulent waters of blended family dynamics and digital controversy, Faris quietly focused on her own emotional recovery and eventually discovered a profound, stable romance with cinematographic artist Michael Barrett, whom she met while working on a film project. The couple chose a remarkably low-key path that stood in stark contrast to the traditional grandeur of Hollywood romances, opting for a private, intimate courthouse wedding in 2021 that allowed them to solidify their commitment away from the invasive cameras of the paparazzi. Despite the immense emotional distance that had grown between Faris and Pratt over the years, the ongoing necessity of co-parenting their son Jack required them to maintain a functional, respectful relationship, leading to rare and highly scrutinized public crossings of their paths. For a long time, the former spouses completely avoided being seen together in public spaces, carefully coordinating their schedules to ensure their private interactions remained entirely hidden from the watchful eyes of the media. The long-standing public separation finally concluded when the exes were spotted in the exact same location for the very first time since their divorce, gathering to celebrate Jack's middle school graduation ceremony. This initial milestone paved the way for a more visibly collaborative approach to their modern family structure, which was put on full display during a poignant gathering just one day prior to the Thanksgiving holiday. The former couple was observed sharing a warm, genuine embrace at a high-profile charity event hosted at St. Monica's Catholic Church in the heart of Los Angeles, demonstrating a united front in their shared commitment to community service and family unity. Observers noted that Pratt's current wife, Katherine, was present at the event, standing a short distance away and quietly observing the interaction between her husband and his first wife without actively engaging in the conversation herself, illustrating the complex, delicate boundaries that define contemporary blended families in the public eye. The trajectory of Faris and Pratt's post-divorce journey serves as a powerful testament to the arduous, non-linear nature of emotional healing, proving that the end of a high-profile marriage is never a simple event but a continuous process of evolution, compromise, and resilience. Ultimately, their story moves past the shallow boundaries of traditional celebrity gossip, offering a deeply human look at how individuals must constantly reinvent themselves, protect their children, and discover new avenues of inner peace while living under the relentless, unforgiving glare of the global spotlight.